Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Pardon my appearance. This is just what we're working with today. I've been wanting to do this video for probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks now, and I just haven't done it. So it's been extremely busy in my life lately. A lot of new things, a lot of new challenges with the kids, and I'm just doing the best that I can. But for now, I wanted to focus on Ford and share with you guys the birth story of my second son, Ford. If you are new to my channel, my name is Alicia, welcome, and I have 2 sons, Remington and Ford. Remington is my first, and obviously Ford is my second, so I do have a birth story about Remington. Go check that out. But today, we're going to talk about Ford, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The labor with Ford started on Saturday, March 31st. The contractions I was having were about 15 minutes apart, and if I start looking up, it's because I am like looking at bullet points so that I could stay on track. So they were extremely painful. The contractions were extremely painful. They were not Braxton Hicks contractions. They were like laboring contractions. I would say like pre-labor, I guess, contractions. But they were about 15 minutes apart, and they were painful enough for me to like make it extremely hard to get out of bed, but I had to because I had to take care of Remington, so it was what it was. It went on all day long. That day I remember feeling like I'm pretty sure I'm in labor, but I can't be because they're only 15 minutes apart, and this can't be it. But they were extremely painful, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get through today. I'm gonna see how I do the next day, and if I still am feeling the same way, then I will call the on-call doctor. Sunday, April 1st, which was Easter, this year it landed on Easter, I was still having the contractions. They were now 10 minutes apart, and I called the on-call doctor, and she told me not to come in unless they were 3 to 5 minutes apart. So I was in pain, but I carried on my day. We went to my mother-in-law's and had Easter dinner. I had to have her ham. Her ham is the best. The contractions were pretty bad. Like I had to like breathe through them and like normal, like that kind of breathing. So they were pretty uncomfortable contractions to say the least. But this went on all day. They were still only 10 minutes apart, and I just remember being extremely uncomfortable, but it was what it was. So okay, so then on Monday, April 2nd, I decided to call the OB office, and I was just like, I am in so much pain. These contractions have been getting worse. They're about 7 to 10 minutes apart now. They started out being 15, then they went to 10, now they're 7 to 10. I was wondering if you guys could check me. So they made me come in. I went into the OB. She checked my cervix. She was like, you're 4 centimeters dilated, honey. And I was like, oh, okay, well that's cool. She was like, how long was your labor with Remington? At this point my water had not broken or anything like that still. But she said, how long was your labor with Remington? I told her. She said, okay, well, you need to make arrangements for Remington, and you need to get to the hospital ASAP. So that's what I did. My mom came with me to my OB appointment, and so I basically just told her that she could go ahead and go home, do what she needed to do. My mom is a hairdresser, so my aunt needed her hair done. So she went home, did her hair, and met us at the hospital, but I'll get back to that. I dropped Remington off at Dylan's mom's house, and my dad was to pick him up after he got done work, and he was going to have him for the days that I was in the hospital. Him and my stepmom like correlated and made it happen. Thank you, parents, by the way. I don't know if they watch this or not, but they are my lifesavers, that's for sure. So I dropped Remington off at Dylan's mom's house, and then I want to point this out. I had a bag for Remington, a bag for the baby, and a bag for me and Dylan already packed and ready in the car. So I dropped Remington off. I met up with Dylan at his mom's house because he was a little bit worried about me like driving with me having the contractions and stuff like that. So I met him there, and he basically just raced home, and I think he was a little bit more freaked out than I was. But I will say with your second, it's so different. Like just the feelings of like I'm in labor. It's just different. Before you're like, oh my god, I'm in labor. Am I gonna make it to the hospital? I gotta hurry up. I gotta get there. And with your second labor, it's just like, okay, well I'm gonna stop and get gas, and then I'm gonna go home, and then we're gonna leave. I guess I don't know. Like no big deal. So I dropped Remington off for the 17th time, and then I went and got gas because we were out of gas, and it's about a 30 to 35 minute drive from my house. So I got gas. I met Dylan back at my house, and we arrived at the hospital around 4:30. When I first got there, they had asked me what I wanted as far as like how I wanted the labor and the delivery to go. And I just told them that I wanted an epidural, and if I could, I'd like to have delayed cord cutting and skin to skin, and obviously I would be nursing. So they had that already to go and everything. So a few hours went by. I want to say this too, that the laboring process with Ford was way less, and I don't know if it's just because I had already felt the pain, or I kind of knew what to expect, or what it was, but the laboring pains were just less leading up to giving birth. Just the entire like situation, everything was just way more calmer and just more enjoyable. And I'm not trying to take away from Remington's birth, but I was in so much pain with him, and I don't know if it was because he was my first child or not, but the second time around was just like way easier. So I don't know if that's for everyone, but in my experience, that's just how it was. So that is, I guess, a good thing, and I'm not gonna complain about that. Anyway, so a couple hours went by. They checked me. I was 6 centimeters dilated. They gave me the epidural, and they broke my water. After that, I had a BMT from Subway and some Doritos and a cookie. And they actually, while my mom and Dylan went to get the food, they were the two people that were in the hospital room and in the room as well when I delivered. But they went to get the food for me, and I was watching Erin Williams, one of her vlogs, which I think is so funny because I wasn't even able to like open my eyeballs when I was in labor with Remington. So that's pretty awesome that I was able to like enjoy Erin Williams' video while I was in labor. So that's great. And so I ate my food, and the epidural was working. I was having like these huge contractions, and I felt pressure down there, but I didn't feel any, like, I wasn't uncomfortable. Me and my mom were laughing, me and Dylan were laughing, we were watching TV, and I believe we were watching Street Outlaws. So yeah, that is fitting for this family. Around 12:30 a.m. I wasn't having any more progression, so they gave me some Pitocin, and she then gave me a peanut ball. And finally at 2:05 a.m. on April 3rd, Ford Mathis was born. He was 8 pounds, 4 ounces, and he measured 21 inches long. I'm feeling a little emotional talking about this now. I did not tear, rip, no, nothing. Everything was good to go. My midwife was amazing. She was on her spring break with her children. It was a staycation, she called it. So she was home, but she was on vacation. Like, she shouldn't have been working, but she worked with me with Remington's birth, and she was also with me on all of my checkups and everything with Ford, and she wanted to be there to help deliver him. So I am super grateful for her. She came in 12 or 12:30, I think she got there, and then she helped deliver him, and she was great. She was really working with me, and she always really works with me really well. So I really pray that when we're ready to have our third, that she will do the same, because she's just an amazing person, and I just really love her. And she really honestly has made both of my experiences. I think that if she weren't in the room, my experiences wouldn't have been as good. So no tearing, none of that sort. She handed him to me, and of course I instantly fell in love. I was crying. We did skin to skin. We delayed the cord cutting for about 3 to 5 minutes. I would have liked a little bit longer, but I think he was kind of hungry, so they wanted to get him weighed and all of that stuff. So they Dylan cut the cord, and after that we tried to breastfeed, and he latched right away. And finally I went to my postpartum room, and things started to get a little bit less fun. I was extremely exhausted. Remember, in the beginning of this whole story, I was pretty much laboring, like, I guess pre-labor. I'm not really sure what the technical term is, but I was technically in labor for 2 days. I did not sleep well the night before I went to the hospital. My dog had an accident in the middle of the night, and Remington woke up in the middle of the night. So I, needless to say, did not sleep well the night before. And if you are a first-time mom, second-time mom, whatever mom you are, if you are in the end weeks of your pregnancy, you need to do the best that you can to chill out and relax and get as much sleep as you possibly can, because giving birth is a hard task. Hard. It's like there's great things about it, and then there's like hard things about it as well. So sleep is necessary. So anyway, when we got back to the room, I was extremely exhausted. He started to have a hard time like eating. I think a lot of it was because he was having some gas issues, and my flow started to get a little bit heavier for him. My milk came in pretty quickly. Like, it was a lot faster than it did with Remington. So I don't know, he was just really struggling with the breastfeeding thing at the hospital, and the biggest hurdle that we had to overcome was his need to lay on my chest and sleep on my chest. So we finally overcame that hurdle, and he does sleep in his crib now, so that's great. Unfortunately, breastfeeding did not work out for us, but that's okay, because fed is best. But this is pretty much it for the labor and delivery story. I hope you guys enjoy, and again, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Ford, you are also so special to Mommy.